This week's episode of Reppin the Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh is sponsored by Jenny Sarabia Portraits. Jenny creates formal portraits to leave a legacy. Introduce your business or build networks. To learn more, visit www.jennysarabia.com.
Okay, everybody, welcome to this week's edition of Reppin the Stateline podcast with John, George, and Josh. George, Josh, how you guys doing today?
Oh, good. I'm doing well. It's been a whirlwind of a week, so I'll get into that more. But it's been a good week.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah. You're feeling okay too, George?
Yep. It was a great long week, but we're good this week.
Well, I am super excited. If you are watching the video right now, you notice there's a fourth square in our little Brady Bunch screen here. And we have a special guest today. Her name is Home Base Cell. Jenny Sarabia Jones. How are you doing today, Jenny?
I'm good, except for I have this message on my screen I can't take off.
Oh, no.
This meeting is being recorded by the host.
You got to hit got it. You got to hit got it.
Hit got it.
There we go. Thank you.
There you go. And that's okay.
I didn't see it. I didn't see the got it.
And this is our second episode in our series of conversations with and whoever we're interviewing. So we're real excited to have Jenny here on the podcast.
Heck yeah, we are. Jenny's special and close to each one of us. So really thrilled that Jenny decided to join us today and talk shop with us a little bit. So let's
one sec, because being that this is also episode 5, we are at the halfway mark for this season. So it is just going super quick. I just want to say that, but go ahead, George. I know where you're going next.
Oh, I was just saying that it's time to talk about what we did. Recap kind of this last weekend. Josh, you said you had a really interesting week. What were you up to?
just everything in life, right? We all have to make decisions, whether they're good decisions or bad decisions. We lean on some of our peers, our family, our wives, really to help us make some of these tough decisions in life. And then there's a point in time, right, where you always realize, did I make a good decision or did I not make a good decision, right? We've all been there. This week really has brought out my decision to join the Valentine Insurance Agency. That I made probably one of the best decisions of my life. I just had an incredible week. I've got some astronomical referrals for some people here in town, and my business, my personal business, and everything is just, it's to that point now where all that hard work and dedication is paying off, and it's showing to a lot of people on this call. Even it's showing to them. So yeah, it's been a whirlwind. I done things this week that I never thought I could do business wise. So it's really exciting stuff. My kid, Mason, we just started one-on-one basketball training with him, with a local guy here in town. And it's cool.
Go ahead, plug the coach.
Trey Wagner.
Okay.
Yep, Trey Wagner.
I was wondering, because he's one guy I always hear about, and then there's Danny McClarty is the other guy I always hear about for the coaching with basketball.
Yep, Trey Wagner. I grew up with him. He was a Harlem boy. We both went to Clark together for a while. He then went off to Mount Mercy in Cedar Rapids. He has done stuff with the University of Iowa basketball. He's coaching at Auburn right now. So I've known him since I was probably in the kindergarten, actually. And so my child is super, super happy, super excited to be working with him and doing stuff. So yeah, it's just, we got a huge basketball tournament this weekend that we're looking forward to. So I just want to say thank you to everybody listening, all of our partners and referral partners and everyone. I wouldn't be where I'm at today without you guys, and I really do appreciate everybody, and my family does too. So, thank you again. Happy holidays. I know a lot of you guys listen to this, so it's great. It's been a really cool week.
That's awesome.
Nice.
Well, I will not follow that up, so on to you, John.
You won't follow that up. Well,
No.
all I did this week was my usual. I went to
Winery.
I went to Geneva Winery. I've not been out there for quite a while, and Denise and I went out, and last minute, spur of the moment, had some Democracy pizza.
Oh, it's fun.
Had this.
Would you pick up your 13 bottles of wine you're owed?
No, that's
No,
George has all those bottles. That's gonna be on the 30th. So on the
Yep.
30th, he's gonna be picking up all the bottles he's owed. I just got a notification today. I have one bottle. I picked up the 2 I had because I hadn't been there in a couple of months. But no, it was a good time. We just went out there, sat in an igloo, caught up with Colleen that works out there. She's one of the managers, just an amazing person. Didn't see Brett, had some red pie from Democracy, got some sweets from the sweet shop across the street, and just a nice relaxing afternoon just to get away. But that's about it. Just working a lot. So same as you guys. It's weird. It's this time of year. You think it's going to slow down. All of a sudden I had a bunch of showings. So that's my week.
I've had a week of show after show of kids Christmas program after program, and tonight is the third in the last week for my older daughter for her band concert, and then only then do we get into the actual holiday week. And so yeah, this is it's been a busy week. I've been all over the place. I won't lie, finding time last week and this week to record these episodes has been insanity.
Yes.
But we did it, and we're gonna be on schedule. We're gonna have the originally planned content. I'm very happy about that. But what else did I do this weekend? This weekend was very low key. My first weekend, I haven't been anywhere in a while. I'm going away this weekend. I'm excited. Another Bears game on Sunday. But we had the cousins sleepover, so we did a little sleepover, hung out with people, had a lot of low-key at-home, stay-at-home type weekend, which is great. I needed it. I needed a little restful weekend after weekends in a row of parties and fun, and it was nice to be around for a weekend.
There's so many Christmas parties going on too. Yeah, Jenny, what did you have going on this past week?
This past week? I worked for Rycom this week, which was pretty cool for D1. Mr. Belush and his gym. It's pretty fantastic.
Yeah, shout out to them. I'm very proud of them. They opened up this D1, and it is right by, if I'm correct, right off of 371. My gosh, what's that street? The highway.
251 North 2nd Street.
251.
251 and the other highway. The major intersection.
173.
My gosh.
Is it right next to Onyx?
I'm having yes. It should be right on there.
That's McChesney Park too, by the way.
McChesney Park, yeah, next to Onyx, where that used to be an Anytime Fitness way back when.
It's now a D1 training, and they've got some really cool stuff from what I'm understanding. And it's not just for athletes; it's for anybody looking to get some physical training and set some goals and meet them.
They have 3 women trainers. There's even 3 women trainers. It's going to be pretty fantastic.
Pretty good. Mm-hmm. So yeah, nice shout out to them. So you did that. That's awesome.
Yes, and I did a maternity session. I did a maternity session. Not as fun as Josh's, but I had one.
George, do you have a picture of that? Do you have a picture of that you could put into the clip?
George, she got to see all of this man meat, man.
I do have. No, I don't have a picture. Josh is the bearer of the picture, but it's up to him if we throw that up there.
We need that picture. We need that picture to be edited in.
Yeah, but you're talking about you're not talking about the one Jenny did, because Jenny did a very, very elegant, beautiful session. You're talking about my funny one where I mimicked Kelsey's.
No, that's not me.
That was
No.
not
Never.
That was not me. Mine are legacy. Mine are like he's gonna have these pictures for his family's gonna. His grandchildren are gonna be like, "Oh my God, my grandparents were the hottest parents."
Shameless plug. Jenny did get to see a whole lot of Kelsey that day.
Wow. So, our viewers are probably wondering. So, yes, it's true. Jenny does do photography. That's what one of her hats she wears is she's an excellent photographer. So, if you're looking for any kind of photography, I mean, pretty much she tackles it all. You've tried it all from housing to drone footage to like you said, maternity, weddings, events for businesses, ribbon cuttings, professional photos, pretty much a one-stop shop.
Well, I am on Jenny's website right now, which is jennysarabia.com. And headshots, portraits, real estate services, and just some of the photos she has on here are amazing. And
thank you guys.
I always knew that you were amazing anyway. So I'd say we jump right into the interview. I mean, like today, our conversation is with Jenny Sarabia Jones. I've known Jenny. It's been a few years now.
Yeah, can you believe it?
Came back. You came to a ribbon cutting.
Yep.
That's the first time I met you, and I met your lovely wife Linda, and we were at a ribbon cutting for the Stateline Chamber of Commerce, and it was just like one of those things like, so who are you? What do you do? And you're like, I take pictures. I'm a photographer. It's like, oh, okay. And the rest is history, as they say. So, but you're not just a photographer. You have like this amazing past story. And that's kind of why we wanted to have you on here. Because photography is awesome. And like half the people listening are like, oh, photography. Yeah. And they zone out. I will say though, that if you look at any of my work, any of the houses I list for the last at least 3 years, that's all Jenny Sarabia Jones. Her photography, her drone footage, her music, and edit into the video. That's who I use. That's who makes those houses look as beautiful as they are. So,
and thank you, John, because you opened up a whole new avenue of photography for me, especially drone, working on the drone, pushing me to like build my skills and more offerings. And you never even pressured me. You were just kind of like, hey, what about this? And it's been great working for you.
I was looking for an excuse to work with you, and I could only get so many headshots done a year.
Well, it's been
likewise,
fantastic.
I mean, clearly Josh used you for maternity. I used you for my videos. So if you go to my website, I have a what do they call it? Roadmap of both either refinance or purchase, depending on what kind of mortgage you're doing. And in that roadmap is videos there. I explain the process, and that was courtesy of Jenny Sarabia Jones as well, photography. So I think we've all used her. And you know what? Yeah. That brings up a really cool uniqueness to it is, we four all came from different paths. And what brought us together was the Stateline Chamber, and more exclusively our Elevate group, our networking group. And the four of us are in it together, and we use each other's services, and it's really cool to see.
Yep, my buddies.
All right, so I'm gonna give one quick thing. So Jenny,
yes,
the first question I'm asking you right off the bat is, what brought you? Now I know this answer, but our listeners don't. What brought you to the Stateline area? Like out of all the places, because I mean, you came from Washington D.C.
Yes.
That's where you were living before you moved here. You've lived all over the place. You've gone to university in Indiana. You went to school in California. I mean, I researched you, so I wanted to get other stuff that I didn't.
Scary.
So I mean, you've had like an amazing career before you did this. Like, this is your retirement, I believe, is what you're doing now. which I think is awesome. But what brought you to the Stateline area, specifically where we're at now?
Well, the reason I came is my mom died in 2013 and my grandmother died in 2015, and they primarily raised me, the two women. And I have one parent left, and he happened to live in Beloit. So I wanted to get to know him better, and I moved here.
Oh.
That's why.
And you spend a lot of time with your dad now. I mean, he is still running and building sheds and garages.
Well, my dad is 74, and 2 years ago he started another career as a welder, full time. So I guess that's kind of where I get picking up new things and new trades. But yeah, he works full time at 74. He's retired, but he went back. He was got bored, went back to work.
So tell me about what is one of the, or pick two things about your past that people may not know about you that you like to share that are just inspiring. Because I know a ton of stuff about your past.
Okay.
That
Probably,
I would say qualifies for this.
Yeah. I think probably the most timely thing right now is the Marriage Act passed and Biden signed it yesterday. And what that allows me is to be married to my wife and reduces the risk of that ever being taken away from us again. And I guess what people don't know, they know I have a wife, but you guys don't know I'm bisexual. I'm not lesbian. There you go.
I did know that.
I think John, you're probably the only one.
No, I knew.
You knew too.
We had a whole conversation about this.
Yeah.
I'm gonna use the word because you used it. Your gaydar. We had a whole conversation.
Oh, that's right.
One time
right.
at lunch about
That's
gaydar.
right. Yeah.
So
yeah, it was at one of the Elevate lunches for sure.
Yep.
I think so.
I
You're
remember
right.
this conversation too.
You did.
You're right.
So, and something people don't know about Jenny is that when we do our lunches, she doesn't order her food. Whatever Josh orders that day is what Jenny eats. So she says, "I'll eat whatever he's having." So, and so
he's
far,
the best foodie. He's the
so
best
far he hasn't
foodie.
disappointed.
No,
All right.
I
made this meal on Tuesday. It was a spicy Cajun chicken and sausage Alfredo.
Josh.
And the lady at my office, Karen, right, hates Alfredo. Like she had this whole thing about how she hates Alfredo, blah blah blah. Dude, I made so much that I had it in the office. She ate it the last 3 days for lunch.
Man, Josh, why don't you let us know about that? I'll come and do it.
Oh my god!
I bet it was delicious.
It was incredible.
Oh,
it was.
You know where my office is, right? Right, Josh? You can always stop by when you have things to share like that.
And he has a kitchen that you could use.
I could probably just cook it in your kitchen.
So
yeah, I'd be down.
Getting back
Josh, I'll pay you and come and pick up.
Yes, I am Jenny's plug when it comes to lunch. And speaking of which, Linda, her amazing wife, doesn't usually come to lunches, but she came one time and she decided, you know what? I'm going to try it. And she was not disappointed in my choice.
Right. Not at all. She had to know. Well, she had been eating it all the whole time because I bring leftovers. So she knew that you had good taste. Because she would.
Yeah, it's hard to get anything wrong because every lunch that we have is at Fozzie's, and Fozzie's doesn't make bad food. So
no, they do a pretty good job.
It's good.
Yeah, pretty much.
I have a question for you. Yes, real quick. Jenny, what was one of the life events early on, maybe high school, college, that led you down the path of working for the Obama administration in DC?
Oh, that's a good question. I think I always, as a child, I wanted to be a lawyer with no money. No chance of getting to go. My dad didn't finish high school. My mom didn't finish high school. My great grandparents and grandparents. I'm first generation, everything. Like I was bused. I had free lunch. You know, I came from what John likes to call hard knocks. And my parents divorced. And there was this really nice lawyer that helped my mom when she was really in a hard time. And she thought she was going to lose her kids. Not that my dad ever threatened to take, but they lived in different states, so she didn't know how to navigate one parent living in one state and another in another. So when I was 9, this lady came and kind of helped my mom, just talking to her. And I thought, wow, so what a nice lady. What does she do? And I didn't even know what a lawyer was really, but I just knew that was all the adults like that word when I said I was going to grow up and be a lawyer. So that was the life-changing event that, and then just figuring out how to get there. Like, what do I have to do, to bust my ass to get there? Like, what does it take? If you have no money, no examples, no role models, like, how do you do it? So product,
that's a really
nice
good...
people.
So what path did you take then to get that? Because I know you went to law school in Indiana, at Indiana University,
Yep.
correct?
Yes.
Before that, though, what state were you in? What brought you there? Like college? How'd that all work?
So I went 2 years first before I got to college, I was walking down the hall and I heard some students saying, I want a scholarship. Believe me, I was a junior and I was like, what is a scholarship? What are they talking about? Like, I had no idea. So I went to my the office counselor and I asked them what's a scholarship, and they were like, oh, you poor child. You need some help and guidance. So I went in there and they started telling me what a scholarship was. I'm an avid reader. I like to read my whole life. If I can impress on parents, teach them to love reading, because that was my gateway. That was my escape. That was how I made it. Literally, I love to read and I would devour anything. I have a funny story about that. Like, so my dad, he mainly speaks Spanish, right? So I came one summer, I think I was 11, and he was a maintenance mechanic, part owner of the South Beloit foundry. I don't know if you guys know what that is.
Okay.
So he was looking for some torn up jeans that he could wear at the foundry, and he gives me $10 at the secondhand Goodwill, and he's like, here's $10, go buy whatever you want. So I went, and there were all of these books for 10 cents each. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to buy $10 worth of books. And I grabbed as many as I could. And I went to the register before my dad could come. Luckily, there was some young kid who didn't care about anything checking me out. They let me buy $10 worth of romance novels at 11 years old.
Oh my.
And I'm in the car ripping the covers off, because if my dad saw them, he was going to whip me for sure. So I'm tearing all the covers off. So watch
Fabio.
Exactly, with the long hair and everything. So my dad couldn't get me to do anything that summer. I was like reading all the time. I devoured those books. 11 years old.
Now I understand why you love to read.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
You find your niche. You read them.
That's funny.
So you worked and got some scholarships then, some help with that?
Yeah, I got scholarships. I got a Pell Grant. My freshman year, I had a Pell Grant. I had work study, and I worked 7-Eleven on the weekends. And then during the week, I worked in the school. So basically, since I was 16, I almost always had 2 jobs. So I figured out how to go. My second year of college, I wasn't sure how to pay for it. My boyfriend at the time was moving to California, and my weekend job was in the mall. So I had them transfer me to California, and I moved out there when I was 19 with him.
Wow.
Yeah, took a few years off before I went back. I had to get in-state tuition so I could go back to school, get my undergrad degree in Latin American Studies. And
Where at?
California State University, Cal State.
Cal State.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And that I had to pay as I went. So I would work and pay and work and pay. And it's a quarter system. And that time I was working for the studying for the LSAT, because you can't go to law school without passing that, or
Right.
at least taking it. So I did that. I met a recruiter from Indiana, Angela Spada, one of the blessings of my life. And she talked to me about the school in Indiana, and I told her I wouldn't be able to go because my husband's had a job at United Airlines and we wouldn't go. And she's like, well, if you find your way out here, let me know. So my husband's job, the hub opened up in Indiana, and I convinced him to transfer there. We lived there 1 year so I could get state tuition. In state tuition, I applied to the law school and I got in. And at law school, they had a CLEO program for underrepresented communities and things like that. So I applied to that, and I had great support from the college, from the law school, the CLEO program, the iCLEO program. They helped prepare us the summer before law school so that we don't fill out, and give us tips and stuff. I met some incredible professors at that time, and then went through the law school.
Wow.
So then
You're
graduated
part
law
of the
school.
symbol. Oh,
You
sorry,
graduated
go
law
ahead.
school. Did you ever practice law then, or?
Well, since I got my master's at the same time, I went to law school for 4 years instead of 3 years because I was doing the master's at the same time. So about 3 years I worked in a law firm, and Rafael Ramirez, best boss ever, but I learned did not want to be, I did not want to practice. We did family law, and there was one case, this guy had cancer, terminal cancer, and him and his wife got in a fight, and she took his insurance off 6 months before he died.
Oh,
I was like, this is not for me. This is not for me. I was like, I can't work with people who once loved each other and then would do something like that. So those 3 years I got to work kind of as like an intern. He would sign off everything I did. He helped me. He taught me how to do it. And he pretty much taught me I'd rather work in government.
and that's so instead of fighting with people that used to love each other now hate each other, now you got factions fighting in politics. So
Yes.
how did you transition then into government work?
Well, when I was working for Rafael, I got approached by Governor Kernan's staff if I wanted to be an executive director for the Hispanic and Latino commission that they had. It was a brand new legislation. And I looked into it more. It was the first time the state agency was coming into play. And I went ahead and I went for it. I was like, yeah, I'll do it. I'll be the executive director for him.
Nice.
So that's it was
And
kind of
then
my connections in law
that's-
school.
And that led to the Obama administration eventually. That's crazy.
Yeah. So the funny thing was when I started working for the governor, it was a statewide job. So I would travel all the state, and a lot of it had to do with my undergrad degree, which was Latin American studies. So because I had an expertise in the Latino community, I was able to get this job. So my undergrad degree combined with a law degree helped that. The politics came in because I went to lunch with a girlfriend of mine, and we went up in this elevator, and she's like, hey, let's stop at the Democratic Party headquarters. I want to talk to my friend. And I says, okay. And I walk in, and they're like, Jenny, aren't you in charge of the state agency? I says, yeah. They're like, would you like to be a delegate? And I'm like, a delegate to what? Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Like, a delegate to what?
Wow.
What do I have to do? How much does it cost? And they're like, well, you have to run, at the state party event. And I'm like, okay, I never ran for anything. So I ran for the state party thing, lost, because these are like diehard Democrats who've been campaigning for like years, right, to be a delegate.
Right.
So I lost. They had their matches with their names on it. They already had their coalitions and their partnerships. And I was so raw and new to it. I didn't know how it worked. So I didn't get it. I lost. So then I'm sitting in the front to celebrate all the people who won. And someone taps me on my shoulder and they tell me, are you Jenny? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, the governor wants to talk to you and the state party chairman. And I'm like, oh my God, my mom died. Like instantly my Latino-ness came out. I thought somebody died. Like they came to get me off the floor because somebody died. And I'm almost bawling going into this room. And they're like, Jenny, do you really want to go? And I'm like, yeah, but I lost. And, I'm sorry, sir. I didn't know how to campaign. And they're like, well, how would you feel about being an at-large delegate? And I'm like, what is that? What's an at-large delegate? What is that? And they're like, well, you represent the whole state. I'm like, okay, I could do that. So I got to be a delegate at the convention in Boston, supporting Kerry.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah, it was hilarious. It was hilarious. So that's how I got to do that.
And
That's
then
crazy.
you went to work for a state senator then, right?
No, yeah, not states. He was a congressman.
A congressman,
So
okay.
yeah, so I did that. Governor Kernan lost his campaign. I had left being executive director to work the campaign as a volunteer, and we lost. So then I decided, well, I should probably try to take this bar, and become a real lawyer. So I took it and I failed. I failed the bar. So my dad came, why don't you come and stay with me and you could study for the bar and take it again? And I'm like, okay. So I'm come over here to South Beloit, these little apartments he ran over there by this Walmart.
Yeah.
And I like hibernated for like 3 months. And what I was supposed to be studying, but I wasn't. I was like, what's going on in DC? And I was like, what's going to be my next thing? What do I want to do next? And I really like politics. So I was like, I'm moving to DC. And my dad, he was kind of like, well, you can't be in school forever. He was kind of disappointed because I don't know how to make enchiladas, but I have all these degrees, so he's kind of that kind of dad. He's like, yeah, but you still can't make enchiladas. So anyway, so I decided to do an internship for finishing my master's in DC. And I got there and I was like, I was lucky enough that Senator Salazar from Colorado, my mom's hometown, let me be an intern in his office. So I got to be friends and make friends. And I didn't want to come back. So I failed the bar again because I was in DC and not studying. So I stayed in DC and I worked for Salazar for a while. And then I went over to the House side, worked for Congressman Joe Baca for a while. Went up, became a senior LA, and then became his legislative director, where I was writing legislation and bills. And that's where I got to meet Mr. Arnold Palmer. And so I got to write legislation for him.
Jeez
And
Louise.
Yeah.
There's Josh holding up the Arnold Palmer can.
Whoa.
Yeah. Do you want to hear my Arnold Palmer story? You guys probably heard it already.
Of course.
Okay. So my job was to get Arnold Palmer a Congressional Gold Medal, right? So they were like, for some reason I was the lawyer, I had a law degree, not a lawyer, but a law degree. So naturally I was in charge of the golf committee. Didn't know how to play, but naturally I'm in charge of the golf committee because I have a law degree. My boss, he's probably 5'4" scratch player. One of the best players on the hill, Joe Baca, scratch player. So on my lunch hour, he'd have me go practice my short game because I can't be in charge of the golf committee if I don't know how to play golf. So he kind of made me learn how to play, which I'm not good at. Actually, I'm good at.
Neither is George, so it's all right.
You don't have to be good.
Just me.
You just have to play best ball all the time. You don't have to be good.
Yeah.
That's why we bring Josh.
That's a secret.
Yeah,
That's why we bring Josh along. That's it.
Yeah, play best ball. So I'm in charge of this committee, getting him a gold medal. I cannot leave the hill in my mind until I get the president to sign one of these bills that I've been working on. So luckily I worked my ass off. We passed this bill because Arnold Palmer crossed party lines. He was a phenomenal person and everyone supported it. So the bill passed. So when he came, it was my job to go get Mr. Arnold Palmer from the taxi cab and bring him in for some of the ceremonies we were having for him. So I go and of course I take his picture with the Capitol behind him as I'm walking him in because that was my moment. And we get in and we're going through the conveyor belt for, security to check things. And this man must have man pockets. I don't know, women, if you know this, but man pockets are the deepest MFs I've ever seen in my life. This man, it looked like he put his hand in his pocket and went all the way to his kneecap. He kept digging stuff out of his pockets, Mr. Arnold Palmer. He had all these little umbrellas because that's his logo, right? And he would have like gobs of them and give them to people. Little umbrellas. I have mine still. I would treasure it forever. And he looks up the guy, the security. He's like, "Sir, are you okay?" He goes, "Yeah, don't mind that, young fella. That's my Viagra. Don't mind that." And I was like, "What did he say?" And I kind of froze. And then the security guy freezes too, and then he busts out laughing. He's like, "My Viagra, that was funny, right, Jenny? That was funny." I'm like, not knowing, do I laugh? Do I not laugh? Like, what the hell?
Oh
So
my
I'm like,
gosh.
"Yes, sir, that's funny." As I'm trying to help him stick all those things back in his pockets so we could go down the corridor and meet all the other members. Yeah, so that's my story.
That's your funny story.
Yeah, my
But-
own formal story.
I love,
that-
I love, and we all have this, right? And I'm sure our listeners can relate. We've all been through life, right? But the best times are the small little moments where like you kind of veer off the path and then
Yeah.
you come back, right? It's
Yeah.
I think the best part of this interview so far is listening to Jenny tell her life story, right? But then you see her
100%.
eyes light up when she remembers that little moment where she went this way for a
And
quick
then got
second,
back
to
on
know what's
track.
going on, and then
Yeah.
she's coming back, right?
Yeah.
I think that's
Yeah,
the best
for
part of this whole interview so far, Jenny. Like, I love it. I love hearing these just crazy, quirky stories of who and what makes you how awesome you are to have in our community. So,
100,000%.
And that's one of the things. It's like you photographed so many senators, congressmen, presidents, celebrities with your time in DC, and it was always just a hobby for you. But I
Yes.
see the photography at the Stateline Business Expo in 2020, right before COVID and everything hit. You had a booth set up. You had all these photographs of all these people, and I was shocked at some of the, like, you photographed President Obama. You photographed, I think you photographed George W. Bush as well, right?
I went to an event with him. Yeah.
Right. You had
No big deal.
all different.
NBD,
You had all.
just
You had all different senators. You were with Nancy Pelosi. You were like
Yeah.
all of these people, and regardless of politics, it's just they are people that serve our country, and you got to meet them. You got to work with them. You got to photograph them. It's just. And I'm sure you have a
Yeah,
lot of
it's
stories about each
inspiring.
individual person, but we don't have hours and hours. So
Jenny,
Well,
what
you
is
did-
your favorite thing to photograph? Like right now in your career,
ooh,
what would be
Dogs.
your favorite thing to
George,
photograph?
George knows me.
Dogs,
What did you say,
puppies.
George?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
you got it, George. He knows me without a doubt. A furry. Yeah,
A furry friend.
yeah.
she
So-
said furry like for dog, not for like the furries are a whole different class of
No cats, just dogs.
Dogs.
just dogs, no cats.
So this is the part of the interview, the story where Jenny tells how, like, after Obama, then she really got to the big leagues, and she was invited by this president of the Stateline Chamber to become the vice president, and now she's the
Yes.
chair. She's the chair of the new committee that was formed at the end of 2022 that will be
Yes.
launching in a big way in 2023. And
Yes.
I don't know if I want to give the cat out of the bag just yet, but you guys will see some really big things happening in 23 for the Stateline Chamber, and a lot of it is going to be the undertaking of Jenny Sarabia. So I'm very excited to work alongside her, honored to have her as a friend and an associate, and just a wealth of knowledge. Like everything you've done, like I haven't been so into an episode of ours as we're recording than this one. This one has by far
You're
captivated me the most. So really appreciate you coming on and sharing your story.
Thank you, guys. I love you. Thank you.
So with that, we should definitely talk a little bit about what's happening this weekend, because we have to represent the Stateline area a little bit.
Yes. Yes.
As much as we want to keep hearing these amazing stories, we should get to that part of our show here.
We'll
What do
go
we
have
got,
drinks.
John?
I'll tell you more stories. I'll tell
Oh.
more stories during drinks.
I never need an excuse to go have cocktails, so you know that.
Yeah.
Well, I will say there is a lot of things going on this weekend. One major thing, though, and I want to point it out right away so you plan in advance. Did you guys all know that Mrs. Fisher's potato chips is 90 years old?
Hmm.
90
Sounds
years. And they're doing a hot chip day on December 23rd from 7 to 3. So you go to their location over on Riverside, and they're going to pull chips right off the conveyor belt into a brown bag, hot chips right out of the conveyor.
Sweet.
So in celebration of that. So that's something to think about. 90 years, Mrs. Fisher's potato chips are a staple of the Stateline area. Rockford, they've been here
Absolutely.
forever. On top of that, though, did you guys know there's a snow market going on the north end in Rockford? So
Yes.
Yeah.
Illinois Route 2, right by the roundabout, just some south of the roundabout. The Norwegian, there's a snow market. It's outdoors. It's a Norwegian tradition, and that she brought it into effect a few years ago, and it is going on this weekend. We also have the Artists Assemble Theater at Hallmark presents Hallmarked. That's going to be Mary O'Reilly is stressed about the holidays, so there's a whole big presentation happening for Rock River Valley for the entire family. Third weekend in December brings us a holiday light display, a theater, concerts, ice hockey. Rockford University Cheek Theater, 7:30 on Friday and Saturday is Winter Wonderland. We've got the snow market, like I said, going on. That's 3 to 9 Friday and Saturday, 11 to 5 on Sunday at the Norwegian. The River District Santa Hop is going on this weekend, Saturday at 10 a.m. to 11 p.m. CJ's Public House, Mary's Place, the District, Bubble Hive, the Office Tap, Rue Mars, J&K Lounge, Ernie's Midtown Pub, Rio, Octane, Vintage 501, Magpie, Prairie Street Brewing Company. Jesus, everybody in downtown Rockford is involved in this River District Santa Hop. So get your punch cards filled, go around, different prizes at each event. Just some amazing things happening. And don't forget the gardens, Sinisippi. You can drive through to lighted displays. The Arboretum is still going. You can walk through the Arboretum.
And I heard also that the Japanese gardens are doing something with lights as well.
Festival of Lights at Sinisippi. And yeah, the Japanese garden was Nicholson Conservatory has a glow. I'm looking at it. I'm trying to find it. It's on my list here. Anderson Gardens, yeah, I just can't find it, but it is going on this weekend. You can walk through the gardens. They're lighting it up. The Lorette House.
It's just like, yeah,
the Lorette House. So Franklin Floyd Wright, one of my favorite architects. He has a house. There's a house he designed right here in Rockford, and they've got an event going on from 1 to 2:30 Saturday and Sunday. You're going to do Irish and Celtic Christmas music will be playing, and there'll be performances of dance and Irish step dancing and bagpipes.
Ooh, that sounds like fun.
Yeah.
Ooh, I like that. So on the note of the 90th anniversary, I shared this with you last night, but I'll share it with Josh. I don't know if he's heard it yet. It was a mind-blowing thing. It aged me real quick. Do you know you saw Home Alone, right? Do you know the mom in Home Alone, that she's Moira from Schitt's Creek, the show?
Yep.
And do you know that when they filmed Home Alone, she was 36 years old, the mom?
Wow. How could you be 30?
Yeah.
How could you be 36 and have all those kids? I mean, that'd be pumping them out one after another, like clockwork.
That's what I'm saying.
Well,
they did
that aged me immediately. When I heard that, I was like, "You got to be kidding me!" And do you know that movie came out 32 years ago?
Yeah, it was 1990.
On a side note, though, guys, I know we're coming up on the holidays, right? We got 2 more weeks, and then the true fun happens.
Yeah,
you know
we've got an episode coming up that is going to be.
Nope, not even talking about that. I'm talking about the 30, 40, 50 club, baby.
Oh, yeah. That's coming up too.
1. It's our year, 2023. The 30, 40, 50 club will be tearing up the Stateline area all year long.
And you guys get to share it with us. Absolutely. So Jenny,
Josh is really excited. Josh is really excited about that. He's turning 30 and George is turning 40 and I am turning 50 this coming year. So
okay, now I get it. Now
Josh is very
30, 40,
excited.
50 club.
Josh is very excited about my old age. Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's gonna be a fun year. Well, do all the want to remind everybody anything else that you guys want to say before we wrap this
I
up?
do.
Jenny?
I want to thank you for having me. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You guys are the best.
Well, I want to say, Jenny, thank you. And I mean, we could spend like 5 episodes going through all the stuff you've done in DC. So I would love to get more stories out there. But if you are interested, if you have family, you have a wedding coming, you have photography you need done, you want pictures of the kids or the fur babies, any of that, I need you to go to jennysarabia.com. It will be in the description of the podcast and the video. And you can always contact Jenny at info@jennysarabia.com. Ask questions, check out the website. She has amazing photography there. And one last thing I want to ask Jenny before she goes, because we are repping the Stateline. Jenny, where is your favorite place in the Stateline?
My favorite place?
Your favorite place. Could be a business, it could be a location, but in the Stateline, where is your favorite?
Nellie's. Going to eat at Nellie's in South Beloit.
Nellie's. I've been there. That's some good food.
It's my most favorite.
I've never been there.
You gotta go.
Well, I think we need to. It's in South Beloit.
South Beloit,
we need to go there and we need to get them to join the chamber, because if that's your favorite place and you're on the board, it's just a marriage that needs to happen. Sounds like.
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
So our next sitting and sipping will be kegs and eggs.
Kegs and eggs.
Yes.
Baby.
Oh, maybe next season. That may be one. That may be a great idea for spring.
Could you imagine pony kegs and eggs?
Oh my goodness, we could be in trouble. Okay. Well, like George was alluding to, please do all the YouTube-y things, please do all the podcasty things, and like, subscribe, and share the episode wherever you consume it. So if you're listening to it on a podcast, that channel, like, share, subscribe. If you're watching it on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe that channel. And always, you can find the video every week on Reppin the Stateline on Facebook. We've had a lot of traction there too recently. We have a lot of new members, so welcome our new followers on the Facebook channel. And I want to thank you guys.
Yet?
Not quite. We're almost there.
Yeah, we've been
growing
got that
the last couple weeks.
Almost there, but I will tell you, the instant feedback from last week's episode with the sushi and sake, and then having the manager from Spider Sushi sharing the episode so much has helped bring more people to us. So thank you very much, Spider Sushi. It was Spider Sushi at Harrison.
Yes, good call.
At Harrison.
You don't want to screw that one up.
No, Spider Sushi at Harrison. Thank you again for being wonderful and gracious hosts when we did our sitting and sipping last week. So thank you very much. That's all I got for you guys.
Thank you.
Yep. We'll see you next week.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And Jenny, thank you again. Say hello to Linda for us.
Will do. Thank you.